kick off our discussion this evening with Marcia Brownlee. I can't, where is she at? I've got too many boxes open on my computer. I apologize.
Hi, no, I'm here. I'll say something. So
perfect.
So my screen comes front and center. And I'm going to take a quick second to move things around on my screen so I can share it with you and still see you and see the chat. So I'm going to take a minute to do that. But first, I just wanted to say hello. My name is Marcia. I am the program manager for Artemis Sportswomen. And Jennifer, thank you so much for inviting me to this happy hour. I'm excited to be here. I know what it's like to be a woman hunter and angler looking to connect with a community of other women to learn with and from in the field, and just the different dynamic that those opportunities can create. I'm really excited that that the agency is doing this for you all in New Mexico. I think it's incredibly valuable, and I hope to share a little bit more about what Artemis is, what we do, and how you can connect with us, and hopefully we can be supportive too. So let's see. Okay, so what you should be seeing now, hopefully, is a PowerPoint presentation that does not include my notes. Is that true?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I am having a hard time seeing the chat. So Jennifer, if there is a chat that pops up, please don't hesitate to raise it.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Megan and I will be monitoring that for you and let you know if there anything comes up.
So when I joined with Artemis, I joined in 2018, and it was a year into Artemis's existence. We were founded by the National Wildlife Federation, so we're an initiative of NWF to engage women hunters and anglers in conservation advocacy. We were founded in 2017 and launched first in the West. So our primary target states at launch were Colorado, Montana, New Mexico, and Wyoming and Idaho. So we had a really great opportunity to get our boots on the ground here in the West before we expanded across the country in just last year, which was pretty fun. But Artemis was founded in part because it was recognized that women are the fastest growing segment of the supporting community, with a 90% increase in the last 15 years. But given that, we still seldom have leadership roles in sporting conservation, and we are seldom the voice of conservation campaigns. And as I mentioned earlier, what's more, as I'm certain you're all well aware, it's very difficult to find a community of women hunters and anglers to learn with and from, and to meet women who can get out in the field with you. So Artemis works to change that. Our goal is to place sportswomen from all walks of life at the forefront and spur a conversation that speaks to the emotional complexities of hunting and fishing, and tell the bigger story of why conservation matters, how it matters, and who it matters to. We also love working in close partnership with agencies and businesses and other organizations that do great work serving sportswomen. Our perspective is the more opportunities available to women, the better, and the more connected we can be, the more successful we'll be. Initially, as I mentioned, Artemis was launched in the West, and then in February of 2020, we expanded our work nationally, and last October, we were lucky enough, thanks to a grant, to bring on a Southeast Regional Coordinator. And then our constituency, as this founding statement describes, is what we like to call the complete sportswoman. It's the woman who can skin a deer, hook a trout, and fight for the larger ecosystems these species are a part of, and the woman who wants to learn how. So a big part of Artemis and the conservation ethic that we carry with us in the field as hunters and anglers is the recognition that it's a privilege to pursue the game and fish that we do, and that with that privilege, there's a responsibility to make sure that we're doing what we can to ensure the future of our sporting and fishing heritage. And so for us, the R3 initiative, the recruitment, retention, and reactivation of women hunters and anglers includes conservation. We do a lot of outreach in an effort to recruit, retain, and reactivate conservationists, especially elevating the voice of sportswomen, which is a really, really powerful voice and has the ability to speak across different lines and talk about hunting and fishing and why we care about what we do so much in a way that resonates differently with a lot of different people. Let's see. So a bit of a background and kind of a big picture perspective about who Artemis is and how we operate. We operate primarily with the support of a leadership team, which is a group of volunteers who serve as an advisory committee to Artemis. They're volunteers who are selected based on their commitment to building an inclusive community of hunters and anglers who are themselves dedicated to conservation. And they support Artemis staff in pursuit of our mission. They meet with us virtually 6 times a year, and they serve on various committees to enhance our work. And I can't tell you how much I value their guidance and perspective when it comes to making sure that we are meeting the needs of sportswomen across the country. Next is our boots on the ground organizing team of Artemis ambassadors, which is one of my favorite parts of my job. These are volunteers that we bring on each year, and they are charged with expanding local communities. So their role is to host events that bring women together to build relationships of support and connection. You'll have the privilege of hearing from Cami El-Sissi, who was an ambassador in New Mexico and just became a member of our leadership team. I'm very excited to have her in that capacity, and she will talk a little bit more after I'm done about what she's doing in New Mexico specifically to bring women together. But as I mentioned, we bring on new ambassadors each year, and it's through a process of application where we choose the next cohort, and we bring on 30 ambassadors for a 2-year term. So at each time we have 60 sportswomen across the country who are hosting events and doing a lot of outreach to make sure that we're building those relationships in person between sportswomen, so you can have those friends to get in the field with. Our applications are usually posted in January, so our next cohort will be reaching out to you in January of 2022. And please don't hesitate to reach out if this is something you are interested in learning more about. We do not expect our ambassadors to be expert hunters or expert anglers. We expect them to be passionate sportswomen and dedicated to building a community. And we would love to have more women on the ground in New Mexico. Once those ambassadors are on board, we are deeply committed to their personal growth and development, both in their sporting capacity and in their conservation capacity. So we engage each cohort in an Artemis Conservation Leadership Series, which is a monthly meeting where everybody comes together and we talk about different topics and really try to deepen our understanding of conservation issues and effective community building tactics. I think it's always important to look into when we talk about recruitment, retention, and reactivation and the importance of community to dig into why it's important. As I mentioned, we're a really quickly growing demographic in the hunting and fishing community and have been for about a decade. And that is often considered a really bright spot in R3 because it's one of the only demographics on the rise. And there are many examples of successful introductory and skills building programs. But what we've noticed is necessary is a stronger connection to community because a mentorship program alone doesn't seem to move women hunters towards greater independence or result in them becoming return hunters who purchase licenses every year. Studies show that across generations, even in hunters aged 23 to 39, which claims a higher percentage of women hunters over other age groups, women still stop hunting at a higher rate than men. It's exciting to note that for the first time, dashboards of 2020 suggest that the rate of retention of women hunters was greater than the retention rate of men hunters. And so we're excited to delve more deeply into those numbers and see what the 2020 data trends demonstrate. But in the meantime, we're asking why retention is so tricky. And the few studies that have been done to look closely at the higher lapse rate in women hunters show that constraints to women's participation often include lack of confidence, feeling unwelcome in an activity, needing more training to develop skills, family obligations and the pressure of putting family before self, lacking someone to go with, and people in their social circle who do not accept hunting and fishing. And then more broadly speaking about outdoor recreation activities as a whole, studies show constraints for women can be defining leisure time differently and not feeling that they have the right to leisure, fears of violence, and body image. Women have also indicated that not having many women role models and social pressures have kept them from participating in traditionally male-dominated pursuits. So obviously these pursuits vary widely from individual to individual. They're incredibly complex and they are difficult to overcome with programming. What programs alone can't address, we believe in research has shown that relationships and community can. If hunters need to negotiate ways to move past constraints, it absolutely helps to have a community around you to motivate and inform you through the stories and experiences that you can relate to. So our work focuses on building that community network. And we do so in a couple of ways. One is, again, through our ambassadors and our partner organizations, we host conservation work parties. We love hosting a ton of conservation work parties because good work is really one of the best ways to spark strong friendships and get that on the ground connection to what actual impact can look like when you're doing conservation work. We host weekend fishing trips like this one in northern New Mexico that was hosted in 2019, which brought together women from across the upper Rio Grande to tell stories, enhance their fly fishing skills, and learn about the exciting nature of forest management plans and how they could get engaged in that. We work with our ambassadors to host skills building events. We have a Go Confident series, which is a 2-week program designed to increase knowledge and confidence in being safe in the woods, including wilderness first aid, which is pictured here. We host weekend hunt trips. We do advocacy trainings to help people get their feet under them with what it means to be an advocate and how you can engage. We do what we can to amplify sportswomen voices on important conservation issues, both nationally and locally. And then we tackle this work by starting them young and connecting women who hunt. This is our Art a Baby onesie that I'm absolutely in love with. We host community conversations virtually that foster an inclusive understanding of experiences in the outdoors. We host informative webinars that anyone across the country can log into. And we host group conversations very similar to what you guys are doing here tonight, and just having a happy hour and give people an opportunity to connect virtually. Storytelling events, which are also just a great opportunity to hear about other experiences in the woods that you can relate to. And then we have podcasts. We do a lot of work to improve the prominence and visibility of women in the national sporting community. And through this podcast, we aim to really diversify society's image about who hunts and why, and then use it as a venue to cultivate conservationists and really highlight the importance and the uniqueness of the sportswoman's voice. And that's, I want to end by just saying we are a national organization, and we really try to balance our opportunities to engage locally, because there's really nothing that can replace that in-person connection and that experience together in the outdoors. But we also understand that there are a lot of limitations to that, sometimes being just distance, sometimes being scheduling, and sometimes just access. And so we try to balance that with some virtual events. For example, tomorrow in South Carolina, we're hosting a virtual event called Understanding the Rut, which will delve into whitetail deer hunting and the rut, which again, it's focused on South Carolina, but whitetail are whitetail. And so some of that information will be translatable to sportswomen across the country. And then we also do Tactics series, which is a 3-month virtual engagement where we focus on a specific species and offer opportunities for connection and learning throughout the season. So this year we did turkey tactics in the spring to support people during spring turkey hunting. And then in the summer, we did a fly fishing tactics, which was an opportunity to talk with experts to improve fly fishing skills. And coming up in 2022, we hope to do upland hunting, whitetail hunting, and ice fishing hunting tactics series, which again is a great opportunity to try and connect with people. And even with those virtual tactics series, I want to underscore that we always try to support our ambassadors to host in-person events in connection with them. So if you participate in the upland hunting tactics, we try to also offer an opportunity to connect with sportswomen in your state, to get on the field together. And sometimes our ambassadors are able to support that. And even when they're not, we're usually able to connect you to other women in your area who are also participating in the tactics program. We do a virtual book club. We have a Slack channel, which I'm just now learning about. I mean, I know about Slack channel, but Slack is a new app for me. And it provides an interesting way to do real-time connection when you have questions and get some pretty quick answers. And then we also do a conservation engagement series, which is an opportunity to engage on specific conservation issues and learn more about the background. And that's really it for me. I dumped a whole lot of information. I hope some of it was helpful, and I'm done.
So much, Marcia. I don't see anything in the chat, but I do want to open the group up to any questions or comments or anything for Marcia at this time, but before we move on to our next speaker. I can see pretty much everybody. And maybe there's something that might come up at the end, and we'll definitely open it up to everybody at the end for another Q&A. And I did in the chat put the links to the Artemis Ambassador Program and also to Artemis website as a whole. And then you can click on the region that you obviously live in and find out more information about what they have going on, figure out what events they have coming up, and maybe get subscribed to their distribution list too. So great, thanks Marcia so much. We will then pass it over to Cami. That was a great segue, over to you.
Perfect. Hey guys, so as Jennifer and Marcia both already introduced me, my name is Cami Sissy. I reside in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There wasn't much in my little bio. I didn't have time to send it to Jennifer, but a little bit about me. I'm not a native New Mexican. I'm actually from Wyoming. Recently moved back to New Mexico about 6 years ago. That's when I actually really got into hunting. So I'm what you would consider an adult onset hunter. So I've only really been hunting for the last 6 years. But in those 6 years, I have hunted the majority of the West, and I mostly focus on rifle and shotgun. So waterfowl, upland, small game, and big game. I have yet to do muzzleloader and archery. I still feel like I haven't quite, I guess, feel like I'm that proficient in rifle to where I want to move on to muzzleloader and then on to archery. So as Marcia said, I was an ambassador. I was a Central New Mexico brand ambassador for Artemis. And then I just recently moved into a leadership role. So for those of you in New Mexico who are definitely interested in getting into Artemis, there is an ambassador position open. So I highly, highly encourage all of you guys to look at the website. And even if you don't want to sign up, definitely Marcia and I are trying to coordinate and hosting more monthly and annual women's events. Last year, we hosted the New Mexico Wildlife Federation and Artemis first annual ladies quail hunt down in the Boot Hill. I have a video of all of our experiences, which was super cool. But I'm going to do a quick screen share before I start talking about other stuff. So with Artemis, I was actually really lucky. I had an opportunity to go into Idaho and do an all women's turkey hunt. And because I was connected and involved with Artemis, they sent out an email blast and said, hey, whoever is available, whoever would like to go, we definitely would like to bring, we had women from all over the West come out, which was super awesome. So this is just some of the stuff that like Artemis does do. And then Marcia asked if I would like to write about my experience. And I made some amazing connections with tons of women. And so that was really like awesome to be able to experience with Artemis. I am also, for women who are also looking to get involved in Albuquerque, this happens to be hosted by Katie De Lorenzo from Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. She did a archery, intro to archery hunting, where we just went to one of the local archery clubs and just shot. I'm not an archer by any sense of the word, but it was super comfortable. I felt very welcome, very informative, put me on like, you know, the type of bow I should be shooting and all that kind of stuff. So definitely another great organization is Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. They do have lots of women hosted events. And then next one is I'm actually a mentor for this new program called newhunter.org. So this is a fairly new organization, and it's actually nationwide. So you can go on, and they usually have a fee to where you would pay to sign up, but this year it's actually free. So I suggest if you guys have any interest in hunting anywhere in the country, sign up. They will hook you up with a mentor. All of the mentors are vetted through background checks, and they're still looking for mentors in different states. So definitely something you guys are interested in, contact them, let them know that you're like, hey, I'd like to be a mentor. And I have had one gentleman from New Mexico who is a German international in his 30s contact me through the New Hunter program, and I will actually be taking him out this fall for upland and turkey hunting. So that was really exciting, and tons of perks with being a mentor through newhunter.org. So I would definitely check that out for you guys. And let me get back to not sharing my screen. I'm also involved with Hunters of Color. I do volunteer work for them. They are an organization based out of the Pacific Northwest. And then I'm also a board member. I'm the General Community Outreach Manager for Minority Outdoor Alliance, which is actually located in Georgia. But so just to kind of give you perspective, even though there may not be a lot of opportunities in New Mexico per se, there are tons of nonprofit organizations nationwide who would love to have you volunteer, whether that's like you go out maybe once a year and like go to an annual event, or you host an event here in New Mexico based off of, you know, getting women in the outdoors, minorities, youth, veterans, whatever it is. There's tons of organizations like that you can definitely get involved in and network. And then the New Mexico Wildlife Federation is also located in Albuquerque, and they tend to have tons of events. They have a volunteer sign up. They have a calendar that has events. They also have a great program called Nature's Niños that's hosted by one of the employees there. And it's actually like a program to get children into the outdoors, lots of outdoor education. They have lots of summer programs, spring programs. So that's really great for kids. And then I have gone on quite a few hunts. So I know a lot of people, sometimes they get into hunting here in New Mexico, and a lot of times people are very comfortable with hunting in state. I've hunted in Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Arizona, and I think that's it. Large majority of the West. But so if you guys have any questions about hunting out of state, I can give you all the information that you need. Also, if you guys are interested in any sort of mentorship, or you just want information on, you know, you're like, hey, I would like to go duck hunting, or I'd like to learn how to do upland hunting. I just recently got into it about a year ago. I'm getting my second bird dog here, hopefully at the beginning of November. And I kind of have done large game, small game, waterfowl, and upland. So if you guys have any interest in any of those, or you just kind of want to go out, I'm always more than willing to take anybody out. Jennifer knows I'm currently right now being a mentor to a 12-year-old boy who actually drew 2 tags this year. So I'll be taking him out on his first deer hunt and his first elk hunt. So that's a total first for me as well. So don't think that you guys can't mentor people, because I'm out here mentoring people and I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try it anyways. And just to kind of give you guys an idea of what Artemis has done in the past with the New Mexico Wildlife Federation, the types of events that we have put on. I have a quick, I think it's like a 7-minute video of what the ladies experienced at the first annual quail hunt. So if you guys are good, I'm gonna go ahead and share it. That way you guys can get a sense of the type of events that we have hosted in the past. Let me just get out of here. Okay. Whoops, my bad, sorry, hold on. There we go. With the New Mexico Wildlife Federation and also the Central New Mexico Ambassador for Artemis. And I have with me.
My name's Ray Trejo with the New Mexico Wildlife Federation. I'm the Southern Outreach Coordinator. Yeah, well, we're in the southwestern part of New Mexico in the Coronado National Forest. We're just west of the Artemis mountain range. And it's one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion. We come out here often, as we did a couple years ago, correct?
Yeah, so we came out about 2 years ago. I was on my first quail hunt down here in the Boot Hill with Ray and a bunch of other individuals from the West Sierra and the New Mexico Wildlife Federation. And I had never been down to this region. And so it was a new opportunity, which I took. And I'm really glad that I did, because I was able to harvest my first Montezuma quail. And it was just one of those experiences that was once in a lifetime. And I got to watch Ray work with his dogs. I got to watch the dogs work the birds. And for me, it was exceptionally magical. I fell in love. I fell even more in love with bird hunting. I had done quite a bit of upland hunting before that, but I had never done it over dogs. And so by you bringing me down here, it was transcendent and magical, and I completely fell in love with it. And so hence why, I've now since bought my first bird dog, and I'm learning how to be a handler. And because of that experience and how passionate I became about it and how much I love working with dogs, we decided, I know we had talked about it for a couple of years about wanting to get more people out and get more people involved in upland hunting. And we happened to make it happen in February of 2021 by bringing 6 amazing women from varying degrees of hunting experience, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. Some have no experience in hunting. Some have gone on hunts, but maybe have never harvested an animal. And I think in listening to their stories last night around the campfire, it was really, really like touching and moving that a majority of these women have never had an experience like this. And a lot of them actually stepped out of their comfort zone to come down here.
We also, we started this event with a safety orientation, which was super important. And it was very, very important to the Wildlife Federation that the safety protocol was all done. We had a friend of ours, Cody McNeil, from Las Cruces. He's a dog handler as well. He did a fantastic job and always does a fantastic job of going over the safety and what to expect when you're walking up onto a pointing dog.
My name is Jennifer Black, and I started hunting last year. It was my first season, and this is my first time out quail hunting. I came out here yesterday with Cody and his dogs and almost got a quail but didn't. And when I saw it, it was scurrying across the ground, and since I hadn't seen one before in this kind of setting, my brain was trying to figure out what it was, and the closest approximation was like some sort of small rodent. So I didn't shoot. And a couple of seconds later, another person said from behind me that there was another bird flying, and I saw that one in the air. And so I tried to get into a good position to take the shot, but I knew that that wasn't going to happen. So I didn't pull the trigger.
Hi, my name is Jamie Gaucher, and I'm White Mountain Apache, Navajo and Kiowa. I was interested in coming to this event because I have no prior experience hunting, but I do have hunters in my family. I didn't really get exposed to it as a child. I've not gone out with them.
Fan fictions are
Male
probably like
dominated.
my evil ex-boyfriend.
I asked my dad about it, and
But I
my
met
partner
Youngblood and he's so cool. And beat him up for me. Something like that. Well, it's like they're like best friends. So it's like I don't know which one to follow.
We're down here in the boot hill, and I looked at the map. I saw Geronimo Lane, and I know that my people, Apache people, this was their ancestral homeland. So for me, it was really neat to come and reconnect and kind of think about my ancestors as we were in this territory, in this area. So it was neat to kind of see the landscape and think about them and how they might have lived a long time ago. I also just was really inspired by the other women that are here, of their interests in connecting with their children, but also stepping out of my comfort zone. And also it really challenged my perception of hunters to see this really neat connection between conservation as well as hunters was pretty inspiring. It made me think twice about my own perceptions, and also my position is, I feel like as an Indigenous person, environmentalism and hunting like go hand in hand. Like there's a certain people hunt to eat, essentially. And I always think about how Indigenous people represent less than 1% of the US population, less than 5% of the world population, but Indigenous people actually steward 80% of the world's biodiversity. So I feel like inclusion and representation is critically important, especially in this space of hunting and conservation.
Oh my God, that's so good.
So, it's been a great experience thus far. We've had great food.
We had amazing food. I thought it was extremely important for people at this event who may have never, we had talked about the varying degrees of hunting experience. Some have never been on a hunting trip. Some have been on hunting trips, but maybe not successful. And I'm a huge advocate for getting people to try food, because I feel like food is is kind of a gateway for people. If you can have people try game meat that maybe they've never tried before, that they can realize this is actually something that I would want to go out and hunt because I know how it tastes.
Yep.
And so for me, I went through my freezer before we came down to this event, and
We brought bison, Barbary,
javelina, antelope, whitetail, pheasant,
and
oryx,
and the sandhill crane,
and sandhill crane.
which
Yes.
was probably the highlight last time. I mean, we people got to taste all of it.
So what compels me to hunt, honestly, in the beginning, I just wanted to fill my freezer. I have some family who hunts, and elk is really good. It's really tasty. And I was trying to feed my children better food, and actually going on a hunt changes your perspective. The animal and the meat in your freezer is just the byproduct of the hunt itself. It's good to push yourself physically. I think you learn your environment. I think that that's really important, and to pass that on to your kids as well. Okay, so this morning we're out. And as we are walking, start to get really nervous. I don't want to hurt the dogs. I don't want to hurt somebody else. And so the dogs get on point and the birds flush. It seems like a weird thing, but I was actually thankful that I didn't discharge my weapon, because I was able to fully get the whole experience. And it's really mentally exhausting. Like, it's physically hard, but it's also mentally hard. You're trying to watch the dogs and watch the people that you're with, and watch your footing, make sure you don't fall, watching your weapon. So there's a lot going on. So I was just grateful for the experience. Me too.
So I've hunted my whole life, but I didn't get into falconry until about 8 or 9 years ago. And through falconry, I got more into upland hunting and got more into bird dogs and started to bust a shotgun out again. And now it's been a balance of gun hunting and falconry, but I've kind of evangelized or made it a point to show gun hunters the falconry side of things, because as far as the non-lead side of things goes, they don't, I mean, the average person either doesn't know or doesn't care. But when they see a raptor and they see that birds are just as much of our hunting partners as a dog can be, they start to sympathize with it, and it starts small. And when I take people hunting, I just ask them to shoot non-lead. If it's an area, I fly my hawk, because I don't think they'd want to kill my hawk secondhand. So from there, I think it's been a good leveraging point on getting people to transition their shot loads and how they go about it. As far as what I want to keep doing is pretty much what I'm doing. I've got 11 dogs and a hawk and a couple shotguns, and I'd like to keep traveling the country, meeting new people, and hunting birds I haven't hunted before, and even hunting some of the same birds, but hunting in different terrains and landscapes and states. So I'd like to keep doing that.
I'm Chris Parrish from the North American Non-Lead Partnership. I was invited out to this weekend event to come and talk to people about our research, both as a hunter and as a conservation biologist. There's nothing better than getting out into the field and doing a little shooting. What we're sharing is something that has gone largely unnoticed. When a high-powered rifle bullet is fired, upon impact, this bullet begins to shed weight. The portion of the bullet that is lost is not really lost. It can remain in gut piles or the remains of whole carcasses when whole carcasses of shot animals are left in the field. This demonstration allows our fellow hunters to see a side-by-side comparison of lead and non-lead bullets. When you collect the remainder of a lead bullet, you find these tiny, tiny fragments. For a solid copper monolithic bullet, all that remains is the tip and the expanded bullet.
Just give this some thought and consider transitioning to non-lead, and you can eliminate the potential for lead exposure. But what we're not saying is like, you should use non-lead. Well, I believe that, and that's what I do, but this is for people to make that decision. The worry we have is that if we don't lead on this, like the program in Arizona, for example, that Arizona Game and Fish has done, they have 87% annual participation for over 10 years, just because hunters were asked to help.
So that's just a little bit of kind of what Artemis was able to accomplish last year in partnering with the New Mexico Wildlife Federation, the North American Non-Lead Partnership, Nuestra Tierra, tons of events. So that's it.
So much. Got some background noise. Some birds going on in the background. I'm not sure where that's coming from. There we go. One of the things, I think some of us were experiencing some choppy video coming on our end. So if you have the URL to that, could you post that into the chat? And what I'm also going to do is compile all of the websites from this evening's conversation and any of the URLs. That way I can send it out in a follow-up email. That way for those of you experiencing some of those video or audio issues can get the full effect of what our presenters are trying to convey this evening. So, well, thank you. Anybody have any, there's nothing really in the chat as far as questions are concerned, but does anybody have any questions from the audience for Cami before we go on to our next presenter?
So there's a comment from Alice, just wanting to know kind of how, let's see, how to navigate at the beginning on what she should start exploring as far as rifle, bow, or even upland, or just in general, how does she navigate that at the beginning when getting started?
I would say that in order, like navigating, I would definitely go out with somebody who is experienced in all those facets. So if you have somebody, if you're interested in upland, you know, going out and shooting a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, and seeing if, you know, what you like, and then finding somebody who shoots rifle, and then finding somebody like, I'm not a proficient bow hunter, but I know there are other women out there who are, you know, that's solely what they do. It's literally, I think, just getting involved with your, like the organizations like BHA, Artemis, New Mexico Wildlife Federation, Impact Outdoors, things like that, that are here in New Mexico, and then just kind of putting it out, putting your feelers out and just saying, hey, I'd like to go out. I know people have had really amazing success with following people on Instagram and finding them on Instagram, and then literally just giving them a DM and saying, hey, I would like to know what you know, will you take me out? And I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, people in the hunting community are more than willing to take people out. If you are passionate about something, you want to share your passion. You want to sit there and talk to people about it for hours. And so one of the gentlemen who was actually on our quail hunt had driven around the entire country in the back of his Suburban for 9 months with his dog, not knowing anybody or anywhere to hunt. And all he would literally do is go into his, like the state he was in, look at what Instagrams would pop up and find people in that area who hunted. And he would literally cold call them through a DM and say, hey, I love your Instagram page. Will you take me out? And he literally went and hunted 9 months out of the year with complete strangers across the country. So it's totally possible. And the worst thing somebody's going to say is they're just going to say no. But I can tell you right now, if they say no or they're not able to, they will definitely point you in the direction to get started. It's just a matter of, you know, having the confidence and being like, hey, I want to know what you know and I want to do what you do. Teach me your ways. So, and like I said, I'm totally willing to take anybody out. Upland season is going on now. Duck starts here shortly, and we'll go into next year. Turkey starts. So there's definitely tons of opportunity to get people out in the field right now with shotgun. Not necessarily rifle unless you've drawn a tag. So.
Great, thanks, Cami. Anything else, Megan, in the chat before we move on? Okay, thanks so much. So now we will roll over to Colleen. She is with the Mule Deer Foundation, and she's got a DOES program that she's going to tell us about. So Colleen, you just let me know when you're ready for me to screen share for you.
Yeah, you can go ahead and pull it up, and I'll kind of do a little bit of intro there on the first page.
Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see that.
I've got it. Does everybody else see it? All right, I see some head nods. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for the presentations we've already heard. I've learned a ton from some of the other participants, and it's great to see that there's additional opportunities out there, not just in New Mexico, but nationwide. So my name's Colleen Payne. I'm currently the New Mexico Regional Director for the Mule Deer Foundation. And if you guys are not familiar with the Mule Deer Foundation, we are a nonprofit conservation group. We are nationwide and focus solely on doing fundraising and outreach efforts to put that money back on the ground for habitat improvement projects and outdoor education programs. So mule deer are the only big game species in North America that are on the decline. without one steady reason why. And every little population across the country or across the Western United States faces its own challenges. And so we're trying to do our best to rebound those numbers. Mule deer are kind of our gateway species. Once you start hunting deer, it really opens up other opportunities, big game wise, to kind of move up and get more exposure. And we definitely want to support our deer populations, not just in New Mexico, but across the West. I started with the Mule Deer Foundation as a volunteer. At the time I was in grad school, and I had already been volunteering for some other nonprofit groups here in Las Cruces, and got asked to help start a chapter here. So it has totally bloomed into a career for me. I do this full time, and we have a variety of chapters across the state of New Mexico, from Farmington to Carlsbad, Silver City to Taos. So if there's any of those areas that you guys want to get more involved in, we're always looking for other people to connect, not just with our local chapter, but with our ladies program as well. So when I started with MDF, I quickly got recruited to be a hunter education instructor as well, which has been a fantastic decision. Absolutely love doing those classes, and you get to meet a ton of people. But one thing that we noticed was that there was a lot of parents that would come to the class with their kids, and specifically single moms or aunts or grandmas, who were interested in what their child was interested in, but didn't have any experience and didn't have any knowledge or connection to continue those activities with the child after the class. So we kind of got approached and put our heads together to try to come up with a women's outdoor education program that would serve New Mexicans, and hopefully kind of be the framework for a national program under our organization. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide, Jennifer. And that program was Discover the Outdoors, Encourage Sportsmanship. So that's the name of our program, DOES for short, because it falls under the Mule Deer Foundation. We kind of wanted to keep it deer themed. We had a youth program that was named Muley, so we just kind of continued with an acronym there. But it was one of the first programs, at least in New Mexico, that was full partnership amongst different entities. So New Mexico Game and Fish came on board with us, obviously the Mule Deer Foundation, and then the New Mexico Council of Outfitters and Guides also brought resources and information. So not only are we connecting agency partners, but we're also connecting nonprofits and advocacy groups that are involved in the hunting and fishing industry. So the outfitting and guide industry is a tremendous economic impact in the state of New Mexico, with a lot of already fully experienced and trained individuals that we thought we can tap into that market. So the goal with this was to try to provide a full field to table type learning experience for women to encourage their involvement in hunting and shooting sports, angling, and learn more about wildlife conservation, because it comes full circle. It is not just go out and hunt. There's a lot of layers to it that hunters and anglers help support conservation efforts, and it's important to know how that circle functions. So one of the ways that we were going to do that was to recruit, retain, and reactivate women of any age, any experience level, that wanted to learn more about these activities and get involved, and kind of create a community of sportswomen here in New Mexico that they can continue to do those activities together. Go ahead to the next one, Jen. So there's a few different values that we held really high when we started this. And all of this, I should add, was also brought together with volunteers. We had several women who had experience either with other groups or were firearm certification, trained in firearm certifications, that brought a lot of those skill sets, which we had a very diverse group of volunteers that all brought a lot of strengths to the group. Instead of having everyone that was only, focused on archery, we had somebody with experience from various aspects of what we wanted to do. And so we kind of had a few different avenues and values that we wanted to focus on as part of this program. First off was education. You cannot get more information. You can always learn, you can always be a sponge, and every experience should be a learning moment. And so we wanted to be able to give the instruction, not just formally in the classroom, but also hands-on experience as well. Everyone has different learning styles, so it's important for them to gain a lot of that experience, not just hands-on, but learning from others, viewing other things that are going on, and be able to kind of fine tune a lot of those different techniques. And like one of the questions that was just asked is, how do you know which way to get into, and what things do you start with? Where do you start? Well, the perfect place to start is taking a hunter education class. Not only do you get all of the certification and safety training, you start to learn of what things interest you and maybe what things do not interest you. There isn't a huge angling component with that, but at least in the hunting side of things, it is a tremendous education opportunity. And meet other people in the class. We have held one hunter education class and 2 hunter education camps that were full 2.5 day overnight hands-on kind of camps across the state that were women focused, that were tremendous. And we had ages from 8 to 72, I think. So it doesn't matter any of your barriers, any of the things that might feel like a challenge to you. You are welcome in our circle. There's always a seat at the table for you. And that kind of leads into the type of environment and the type of encouragement that we want to provide at these events and at these classes. So when we first started building the foundation of this program, one of the main concerns that has been previously brought up in the presentations this evening too is the lack of support, maybe any negative experiences in the past that have hindered them, time availability, and just not having anyone to show them. So we very, very, very much wanted to create and focus on a positive learning environment. And we wanted to be able to have instructors, preferably that were women, so that it created a little bit more of a bond with our participants. But we have had several fantastic male instructors as well. So we're very picky about our instructors because we want it to be the right environment and the right connection between our groups. And that really helps to create this sort of community and this sort of social network amongst our participants, because we want them to be able to learn or take what they learned at our camps or classes or events and continue to do that outside of class, and hopefully introduce you to some other folks that you can do that with. Go to the next one, Jen. So just an example of some of the events that we've done in the past, and I'll give some ideas of what we're trying to do in the future too, is like I mentioned, we've done our hunter education camps. We did one out in Mimbres, New Mexico, and one outside of Chimayo, where participants came in Friday afternoon. We had some instruction Friday evening, all day Saturday, and exams and tests on Sunday. So it was camping out. It wasn't as easy as just going back home and having the comfort of home. You get to kind of learn some other hands-on experience of what it takes, not just to hunt, but what it's like to camp out, get dirty. We want you to have the full experience of that. We've hosted some hunting and fishing camps and some field days where we take women out on fly fishing trips. We've had actually some of our participants in this group this evening have helped facilitate a lot of those of being instructors. We've done fly tying clinics at those, learn how to cast a fly. A lot of the events that we do are from people who have done these, before and have the experience, but also provides new opportunities for those who haven't had any experience with it, and really trying to learn a lot of that. I've had a lot of firsts with this group, my first turkey hunt and first fly fishing trip, because of other women that have brought these kind of events together. What we're also going to try to be doing in the future as well is some habitat improvement projects with the Mule Deer Foundation, so that you're not only participating in harvesting animals and not just focused on the hunting and fishing things, but also supporting the habitats that they inhabit, sorry, because it's really meaningful, and it's a connection that we want to instill and build within our participants, that it's full circle. We have to support what we are doing, and especially in today's age, we want to be able to continue that for future generations. And a lot of the conservation falls on us as hunters and anglers. So we certainly want to continue that and introduce new people to it, because it could go away. If you move to the next one. So we do have an upcoming project coming up October 9th. We are going to be doing a wildlife friendly fencing modification. That means we are removing some old wire that might cause a hazard for pronghorn, for deer, and for elk. So pronghorn typically like to go under fences. They very, very, very rarely will jump a fence. And so this section is out on the Taos Plateau, just south of San Antonio Mountain, which is north of Tres Piedras in Game Management Unit 52, if you guys are familiar with that. As you can see in the photo here, it is a lot of sage country. And so there's a lot of antelope that inhabit this area and that need to move, but fences create a barrier for them. So we're trying to remove that bottom strand of barbed wire and replace it with smooth wire so that pronghorn can easily go underneath the fence. Then we're also spacing out the wires appropriately per Bureau of Land Management specifications, so that any deer or elk can jump over the fence and not get a foot caught up. We need about 20 volunteers that day to come out and help us. We want to get another mile of fencing done. This is the second phase of this project. We've already done one in July, and we're hoping to do another round before the snow comes this fall. Everything is provided. All the equipment is already there. Meals and drinks are also provided during the day. Excuse me. We just need you to show up. So if you're interested, my contact information will be at the end of this presentation. And I would love for you guys to reach out, come out and help us. It is a little labor intensive. We're going to be out there all day, but with having a large group is certainly going to help us get that work done faster. There is some fantastic camping and fishing nearby too. So if that piques your interest, you can make a whole weekend event of it and come out and help us. All right, the next one. So there's various ways that you can get involved. We are desperately looking for some new volunteers to join our committee and to help us out. Our volunteers can do everything from leading and planning an event to being a supporting role at an event, whether it's helping with registration, helping lead a class, taking somebody out in the field, help with cooking and camp setup. There's lots of different jobs that can be done depending on the event. But we're definitely looking for some more volunteers to help us. We're also looking at kind of branching into more of a one-on-one mentorship program. We're looking on how the best way is going to be able to do that with our partners and be the best fit, not just for the mentors, but for the mentees as well. So we're looking at building that. I have received dozens of messages just this year of people asking for mentorship, asking me to take them out hunting or fishing, and I can only take so many. You know, it's another kind of full-time job, and I think I have 6 this year that I'm taking out, whether they're first hunters or first-time hunters to New Mexico. And so I'm super excited for that, but with my schedule, work schedule, and their schedules as well, I can't, take on any more than that. So the demand is definitely there for mentorship, and we would love to have some more mentors come and help us. Yes, Cammie, I'm all about it. Come on. Participation, if you're not interested in being a mentor, or you're not ready to sign up as a volunteer, just come to one of our events. We've held some ladies' night shooting, archery shooting events, some booths at different shows. Come to a camp, a class, just come as a student, come and participate, come and learn, and come and meet some of the other awesome women that are interested in the same things that you are. If you can't do any of those, share the information. Let people know that there is this program that is going on and it's happening in New Mexico. Let people know. That tremendously helps us kind of spread the word and get people out there. We do have a Facebook page with some upcoming events and information on there, that as we continue to kind of grow these and get a lot of these scheduled, we will certainly be posting them up there. Because of COVID, it totally set us back in time of doing a lot of these events in person and doing them at the scale that we want to be able to facilitate those. So we're still kind of navigating through a lot of those restrictions and making sure that it's going to be best, not just for our volunteers, but also for our participants as well. The next one, Jen, I think is the last one. Yep. So here's my contact information, my email address and my phone number. You can always reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram as well. I think Cami made a great point of the hunting community is definitely open to those who are willing to put in the work and the effort to get out there. And we want to help you. So certainly feel free to reach out anytime. We would love to have you. We'd love to help you out, get you involved. Even if we can't physically take you out on a hunt or mentor you that way, we could certainly help with providing you information and helping you get prepared or answer any questions that you might have if you're going to be going to a local event or going to your local sporting goods store, because that can be very overwhelming. So we want to be able to have kind of that good female power to give to you and give you the energy and the motivation to get out there and do it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or we can leave it for the Q&A at the end. But I think that wraps up what I got.
Colleen, I really appreciate that. And again, I will be compiling everybody's follow-up email. So awesome. We will now bounce on over to Jennifer Black, and she is with the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Hey, Jennifer, I don't know if everyone else is experiencing your mic going in and out. Is it just me, or is that the way it is for others too?
So is it my microphone coming in and out?
I don't know, but there's definitely a microphone going in and out. Yeah, it sounded like yours.
Huh, okay. That's really weird. I've been on mute, but that's weird.
Okay.
But we'll let you take it away.
Okay, so so my name is Jennifer Black, and I have been hunting for first I started, I'm a new hunter. I started by taking a hunter safety ed course in 2019, and I followed that up with firearm training. And I did that because I knew that I wanted to put in for tags for 2020. So that was my first season. And as I had interest in hunting, I attended these ladies' social hours, and one of the guests at one time was someone from Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. So that's who I'm going to be talking about today. And I am currently the volunteer treasurer for BHA, the New Mexico chapter. And like the other awesome nonprofit organizations that have been represented here tonight, you know, we're just one of many nonprofits in the state. BHA has chapters across North America. So this map in green shows all the different chapters that there are. And so the mission statement of BHA is about outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing in a natural setting. And we work with that through education on behalf of the lands, water, and wildlife. So I thought, well, okay, yeah, I can understand that, but like, what do you do? So we actually support policies for public lands and waters by keeping them public, and then also maintaining healthy habitat. And We also have support the access and opportunity to public lands while maintaining the quality habitat and also for the water as well. We also support policy around fair chase. So that go along with the principles of the North American model of wildlife. Okay, and so the first time I heard that, I was a new hunter and I was like, well, what does that even mean? And this next slide shows in a very concise bullet points of the North American model of wildlife conservation. And BHA really advocates for wildlife as a public trust resource. And okay, so once I got that like textbook understanding of what the organization does, I wanted to know more about that. So of course I checked out the website, and on this map right here, you can click on the state of New Mexico, and this is what you'll see. There's this little tab here for the events. And right now, the only thing that we have going on that's listed on this page is this habitat improvement project that's this month in Ruidoso. And so it's in partnership with Trout Unlimited and the U.S. Forest Service, and it's a riparian habitat improvement. There's a camp out opportunity if you have the time and inclination to do that. And if you would like to participate in that, there's this Bradley Allen who you would contact to be able to attend that, to get hooked up with that. So there's also going on right now the public lands pack out of trash. September is public lands month. And so BHA puts on this annual event where organizations or individuals have the opportunity to organize and pack out trash from the public lands. And then the organization will make money from different sponsors. So this year it's First Light. So they're donating $3 per 13-gallon kitchen trash bag, and they'll go up to a total of $30,000. So right now we're about at the 500 mark. So so people, like, we don't have to be affiliated with an organization to do that, right? This woman is also a BHA member. She had an archery elk hunt. And so while we were out on her hunt, we picked up these 2 bags of trash and then posted it on the BHA website to have it included in that goal. So some of the other events that we've had in the past, this past month, we had a backcountry ladies pack dump, similar to the one that Megan did here last month, and we've had other women-centered events. We don't have anything on the calendar right now for the rest of this year for women-centered events. However, our annual planning meeting is coming up in November. And so it's our intention to get those on the schedule for next year. And the other events that we do, we have habitat projects or participate in habitat projects. We also have Pint Nights. And so those are, during COVID, they were held virtually. And like the ladies pack night was, or pack dump was held virtually as well. So when we can meet in person, we do, and we'll have a featured speaker, and it's an opportunity for us to share information that way and gain education, but also a way to connect with one another. We're going next year in March to have a Southwest rendezvous of the chapters that are in the BHA chapters that are located in the Southwest. And then again, we'll have women-focused events next year. What I'd like to show you now is a video of a habitat project that we did in the Kiowa National Grasslands. And can you all see it on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
We're in the Kiowa National Grasslands on the Great Plains of northeastern New Mexico with a group of volunteers from backcountry hunters and anglers. I think the first thing to emphasize is that what we're doing is science-based conservation. So the way this project came about is that some ecologists that work with the grassland had established a very clear problem with pronghorn migration, that they could not travel between these cattle fences, and there was a relatively easy fix for that. So they did the science to establish the problem, and beyond that, they just needed some manpower to help solve that problem. So they reached out to look for people, and BHA was there to respond to that need and come out here and help implement the plan that they had developed. So the problem that's become clear over time is that pronghorn really don't want to jump fences. And this becomes an issue if the bottom layer of the fences that are established to keep cattle in their proper place is too low, because they'll try to skitter under that fence, but it could scrape up their hides, or they'll just get caught in that fence when they're running too fast, perhaps getting chased by a coyote or something like that. So the fix for that is pretty simple. The only problem is that there's thousands of miles of fence. So what we do is we come in about every quarter mile or so, we modify the fence just slightly. We raise up that bottom layer so that there's enough space for those pronghorn to safely get underneath, and there's more spots for them to do so. So that's basically what we do. We go out with Forest Service staff by fences that they've identified through their research as a problem, and we go through every quarter mile and we just increase those access points so they can freely migrate between these different cattle fences. Yeah, so BHA helped to orchestrate this whole thing. We started to try to plan it before COVID came in, and of course we had to postpone an entire year, but that also gave us time to reach out to our membership, educate them a little bit on the issues that are important to the grassland here in terms of wildlife, in terms of conservation, and set up a time when they could come out and help solve the problem. So the important thing to me about this project is that it reiterates that hunting is conservation. And in this case, we're doing conservation, and we're bringing together all the people that are involved in this landscape and its history, including the people that do the research on these pronghorn, the people that are charged with managing this landscape, as well as the ranchers who make their living through grazing out of this area. So us hunters, we can play a role in all of these things and helping make this landscape a little bit healthier. And if you're a hunter, we need you to help in this process as well.
So that was a super fun project, and I got to meet a lot of really cool people. And one of the people who I went out with was actually willing to take me out if I had drawn a big game tag this year, which I didn't through the state of New Mexico, but that was really awesome. You know, I wouldn't have met him otherwise, and you know, wouldn't have had that opportunity had I not gone on that project. Another way to get connected through BHA is to join to be a member. There's this tab on the website that you can click onto, and then it has all of these different levels of membership. And if you do become a member, you get the quarterly issue of Backcountry Journal, I think, which is another way to get really great information. And I guess the other thing that I wanted to say is I had the opportunity, I was lucky enough to go on the quail hunt that Cami showed the video for, that Artemis put on in partnership with the New Mexico Wildlife Federation. And that was so much fun. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed being out with other women and then learning also from the different people all the different people who were there. There was so much to learn from, even from people who had never been out before. Everyone had something to offer. So that was just really awesome. And I don't, if anyone has any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer them if I can.
There is, Nikki asked a question about when do you know where the Southwest Rendezvous will be?
Oh, the Southwest Rendezvous, we haven't nailed that down yet. And so, I don't know just yet. If you, I'll put my information in the chat. And so, whoever had that question, just contact me about that, and I'll be happy to answer that once all of that information is finalized. And then also, if for some reason we're not able to connect, all of that information, when it does become available, will be on the New Mexico chapter BHA website. So that would be another place to look for it.
Okay, so how is my audio now? Good, bad?
That's good.
Okay, I was playing around with it while you were talking. So thanks everybody for your patience on that. You gotta love Zoom. So I don't see any other questions in the chat for you, Jen, at this time. So thank you so very much. And for now, I will kick it over to Helen, and we will have you wrap us up for the evening. And then we'll go to a Q&A.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys inviting me back. It's always a pleasure to be with you ladies and to talk turkey, or really hunting in general. The National Wild Turkey Federation Women in the Outdoors program, I am the coordinator for that, and I have been for 8 years. I started out also as a volunteer for this program. I actually was approached by an RD back in probably about 8 years ago, asking if I had a girls kind of archery group, I guess you would say, that they would follow, and we'd always be out doing 3D shoots and such, and like trying to, get involved in hunting around the state of New Mexico. And he said, would you consider, starting up the NWTF Women in the Outdoors program? And I had actually been looking for a program myself, and I'd kind of dabble into looking at Bha, New Mexico, and that was the Becoming an Outdoors Woman. The year I was gonna go, something happened. I wasn't able to attend that event, and then the next year they folded. They were not active anymore. So when he asked, I was like, absolutely. The Women in the Outdoors program with the National Wild Turkey Federation was founded in 1998. So their initiative was to empower and educate women into sports, because it was becoming something that, they wanted to do. They were interested, they were curious, so I started this and had my first event about 8 years ago, and 3 ladies showed up, but we had a great time. We had the Game and Fish was out there. Back then it was Officer McDonald. He taught us a little bit of hunter education, wildlife identification. He brought the archery trailer. We were able to shoot archery. We did shotgun. And then we had an outside organization come and teach us a little bit about wild game. And I was absolutely hooked. The 3 ladies that were there were, we had a great time. We were done by noon, but we had a wonderful time. it was out here in Las Cruces at the Butterfield shooting range, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome. They were hooked. They loved it, and I wanted to do more, and I wanted to kind of expand on that. And I thought, gosh, it's so hot out here. We were all burning up, and by happy it was over by 12 out here. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome to host this kind of event in the mountains? And so the following year, I had it at Camp of the Tall Pines in Cloudcroft, and that's in the Lincoln National Forest. And about 14 ladies then, and then it went on to be about 22 ladies. And then probably about 45, and then the year before COVID. If you can, can you share one of the slides, probably the first one with the Weedo, Jennifer?
You bet. Let me get that up. Yeah.
And if you can look right there, that top picture, this program, that was our 7th annual Weedo event, and that was 85 ladies showed up. So this is such an amazing event. If you guys want to talk about, bonds with other women or becoming BFFs, this is probably one of the best events out there in New Mexico by far, because these ladies come from all over to get in on this 3-day event. And we partner, the Game and Fish has been absolutely amazing. You guys have been phenomenal. They make up about probably 4 or 5 of our instructors. Like I said, it's 3 days in the mountains. This organization, so I used to have a set curriculum, and it was, you would kind of get the same classes. You'd get introduction to turkey hunting. We would do shotgun. We would do archery, and I would have about 5 or 6 set classes. And what was happening was I was getting more ladies, and, I didn't want it to kind of go stale and have them be like, oh, well, I took that last time. Oh, well, I took that last time. So what I was like, you know what? So I offer about 20 classes, and you guys probably think, oh my gosh, that's a lot, but I set it up college style. So maybe you came the year before, and our core classes are like turkey hunting, archery, shotgun, muzzleloader. I'll always have probably a good set of core classes that I always offer, but every year you're going to, there's probably something that you haven't taken yet. And all of those are blocked by time frame starting on Friday. Friday night, we do a wild game night, and we're fortunate enough. Yeti has actually sponsored our Field to Fork, where they love, they absolutely love the fact that, women can get out there and take wild game, and then, and actually take it to their families, fill their freezers, and put it on the table for dinner. It's awesome. So we're huge into that. That night, we've done everything from elk spaghetti to, we'll have oryx fajitas, and it's just a lot of different wild game animals. So in those classes, we've had everything from hunter's education and firearm safety, and those are actually required if you're going to take any of our firearms classes with like shotgun and muzzleloader. Wilderness survival, how to apply for New Mexico hunts, emergency shelter, camping. On Sundays, we offer a fishing basics class. The Game and Fish actually comes, and they get everybody set up with fishing poles, and we do it from start, from the very beginning to the end. And we have an instructor there that she'll also teach you how to make a dish. So last year or 2 years ago, we had fish nuggets. They were absolutely amazing. I think Tristana may have been a part of that. She can attest that they were absolutely amazing. So yeah, camping, fishing. We have some non-hunting classes such as leatherworks. So we have Ellen, she'll come and teach the ladies, and they'll actually do a project. And I think year before last they did earrings, like teardrop earrings. Those came out amazing. Dutch oven cooking. You can use that for an outdoor cooking. This year we'll actually, the next one coming up in July of 2022, we'll actually have an advanced Dutch oven. So we have some ladies who have taken the Dutch oven class, and then the advanced will break up into teams, and they'll make like a dessert cobbler for us for dinner that night. So that'll be fun and exciting. Shotgun, muzzleloader, archery. We actually always have, as soon as we do the archery and bow hunting basics, we set up a 20 target 3D shoot out there in the national forest, in that area where the camp is, and the ladies can actually experience what it's like to bow hunt an animal. So we love that, and we actually they'll come off there and have a good time. The picture that you see down below is we didn't get to have our 3-day event this year because of COVID. A lot of people were coming back late. New Mexico was kind of last in opening up completely. And like I said, the Game and Fish, they're amazing partners with me, and they make up for at least 5 of our instructors. So with not having a yes, and they actually, I think it was the end of June before they were able to come and help with any in-person events. I'm usually knee deep in registration for this event by May and June. So I did a 3D shoot. We put together a 3D shoot. We still incorporated, conservation and hunting. And we did an archery basics and bow hunting class and a 3D, kind of taught the ladies. We have, there were ladies there that had never shot a bow. We let them check out the Genesis bow. The Game and Fish brought us the archery trailer, and we appreciate that so much. You guys are amazing. And then that evening, we went in and we did a turkey hunting class, Turkey Hunting 101, taught them how to call, a little bit about the biology, kind of some hunting basics with turkey. And that was that night. And we also did a wild game night sponsored by Yeti, the Field of Forks. So we still had a great first half of the day. And then the next morning we hit the course and we had about 30 targets. We did a train to hunt, and then we did a game trail course, and it poured rain. It poured buckets of rain, and those ladies were such troopers. I know some of you are on. I saw some of the names when I was skimming through there, and you guys were awesome. I appreciate everyone who came. We had about 24 ladies show up for this, and it was awesome for a day and a half event. But yeah, we this year we'll have the one coming up. We'll do, for the first time ever, we always do a turkey calling contest, and we crown our queen gobbler. We also do awards for our 3D shoot. We did a long distance shoot this year, a buckle shoot. That was pretty phenomenal. We'll do that again for our Women in the Outdoors event coming up July of 2022. And let's see, there's so many. We've always had trapping. This year we're actually adding field dressing, and like I said, there's about 20 classes that you'll be able to take that are all introductory. Probably 99% of the ladies that come to this event are they've either hunted before, or they've, it's kind of a 50-50. They've never hunted before. They want to get into this and meet other women that want to hunt. Out of this, we have ladies that come out and become BFFs. They become hunting partners. I have so many ladies that they'll get photos and send them to me, and it's them on their first turkey hunt, or maybe they went on a deer hunt together. It's phenomenal. We also, I'm big into mentorship as well. Every year, I take a lady out opening weekends. I'll take a youth if I get one. That's always awesome and fun and exciting. I think turkey hunting is probably one of the most exciting hunts, and very awesome hunt for a first time hunter, because of the experience of just, having them either in a blind or up against a tree and listening to the turkeys come into a call. So it's probably the best beginner hunt out there. Last year, I've taken several ladies. We've had some that have had close calls. Some, hunting is hard, and no matter what sport it is. So we had Stephanie. She's with the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. She was my mentor, or my mentee last year, and we got her on a turkey. That was a fun and exciting hunt. That was great. And we also, so our R3 program that we have is more like a retention and recruitment for not just for youth and ladies, but to kind of just bring back some hunters that maybe they just haven't hunted in a while, or just to kind of like revamp them and get them excited about hunting again. If you want to go on to the next slide. here are some of our upcoming events that we're going to be having. I'm big into fall and spring turkey hunting. Getting the ladies ready with their shotgun is such an important. I started this with the Wild Turkey Sportsman Association. They are a great group of guys who will go out there and they'll help us get this set up with patterning your shotgun at a 20, 30, and 40-yard radius with your shotgun. You don't have to own a shotgun. If you do, you can bring it. We offer 20 gauges, youth 20 gauges, 12 gauges. We go over everything from, you know, what shotgun shell you're going to need to use. We spend a good portion of the morning before it gets too hot, especially if, like you guys can see that up there. It's at Butterfield Range on October 23rd. We'll get you guys out there at 9 o'clock in the morning. This one's free. You don't have to pay anything. We just want everybody to come out and, you know, take advantage of that fall turkey hunting. So right now, September is archery. If you're confident in your archery skills for turkey hunting, that's awesome. But if not, come and join us October 23rd. And then, you know, hopefully we'll have some ladies out there getting their turkey tag. I think over the counter, it's like $25 for the whole November fall turkey hunt. And we'll get you guys set up and ready for fall turkey. We have a Women in the Outdoors Christmas party 3D shoot that's going to be at High Desert Archery. We've held those before. They're pretty phenomenal. This one, local here in Las Cruces, it's going to be potluck style. And there's going to be some awards. It's December the 6th. Doug has been phenomenal with letting us have the archery shop for that time. And we would love for you guys to, I'll have some registration information, and then my contact information and such is at the end, and I'll go over that. For our northern ladies, we're gonna do another Christmas party and 3D shoot at the archery shop. Gina has been phenomenal, and she's actually, this one is gonna be catered. We're gonna do barbecue and the shoot with awards December the 11th. We'll have registration information for that one coming up as well. It'll be in the Facebook group and on the Facebook page, as well as Instagram. So every March, to get you guys ready for spring, I usually host in Las Cruces the Pattern Your Shotgun class. But this year we're kind of going to do it a little bit different so that it's a little more kind of in the middle, so that ladies can travel in within about an hour and a half each way. It's going to be at the Tenon Hunt Club. We'll do the patterning your shotgun that morning. And then in that, before the afternoon, we're going to actually do a ladies clay shoot. And they will provide the 50 clays for everyone. And we're also going to, they're going to provide lunch for us. If you've never been there, it's kind of in the Bosque area. It's a beautiful facility. It's fun. I've actually done a team shoot there with the National Wild Turkey Federation last year. So that was really neat. I can't think of anything else. I'll go ahead and put out my contact information next. Do you have that up, Jennifer? It's the next slide. Yeah, it's
advanced.
Yeah, so you guys can take down my phone number if you have any questions about this event coming up. That event that we're going to be doing in July, our big 3-day event, is going to be held at Camp of the Tall Pines. I think when I sent this to her, I hadn't done our final tour with the new owners yet. They are absolutely phenomenal. They are National Wild Turkey Federation supporters. I love that about them. They actually, and also this is kind of up and coming and in the works, they want to do a hunting camp. So look for that in the works. If we can get it done and laid out, we will have a ladies hunting camp there at Camp Tall Pines. We'll definitely be looking for a couple of mentors if anybody wants to kind of join us and help us out there. But I'll have more information about that. You can find us on Facebook, NWTF Women in the Outdoors. 2 things will probably pop up for New Mexico. It'll be the group please, please go ahead and request to join that. And then the page, I put a lot of the public information out there, but the group, a lot of you ladies, everybody kind of talks to each other. They all chime and talk to each other and just bond in there. It's a great group of ladies that are in there. And Instagram, we're on Instagram as well, NWTF Women in the Outdoors. I post a lot of our events and photos from our events. I share a lot of, success stories. We have had so many success stories. Like I can't tell you guys, I mean, we'd be here forever, but how many ladies have came to this event that have never hunted before. They're either single moms that want to take their kids out. I've had girlfriends that, they just want to be able to go with their boyfriends and kind of know what they're talking about and share that experience with their loved ones. Hunting is no longer able to live on, it's not going to survive by man alone anymore. A lot of times, and it's proven fact, if the woman hunts in the family, the children will too. So we kind of love to focus on getting these ladies out there and getting them ready and educated and empower them to, take their kids hunting, take their kids camping or fishing, or go with their husbands or their significant others or their BFFs and get out there. And, the bond between the ladies it's awesome. I love each and every one of them. They're all like, we all leave with just such an amazing bond with each other, and we all go hunt together. We all have, we go shoot together. I can't say anything more about how awesome it is. It's just a great group of women, and it keeps growing, and it does my heart good. It makes me feel good to see all these ladies, wanting to get out there and share the same passion as me. I can keep talking forever. I mean, I love women in the outdoors and turkey hunting. So cut me off whenever you want to. If anybody has questions, I'm definitely here for you.
Thanks so much, Helen. Nothing has come up in the chat that I can see. Megan, did anything come through that I might have missed?
Not that I saw.
So,
you guys think of anything afterwards, or feel free to call me, email me, find me on Facebook. Find our Women in the Outdoors, our NWTF Women in the Outdoors Facebook page, the group, message me. I'll be updating that as we go along, all of those events that are coming up. So, and then our big event at Compels Pines. We look forward to that. And I'm always looking for volunteers.
Awesome. One of the things that I want to just project out to all of our participants is all of these ladies have such a passion for sharing their knowledge, no matter what organization they're representing. And one of the things that I think is really cool that I want to touch on is you don't necessarily have to go to a women's only event to network with other women. A lot of these volunteer projects is a great place to meet people, like-minded people like yourself, that you can start having conversations with and building that relationship through communication, even on these volunteer projects. And then that's where you can start your social networking and then also attend some of these other events that are going on that might be specific to what your interests are. But just get involved. These ladies are more than willing to pass on their information to you. And so I highly encourage everybody to almost like over immerse yourself sometimes, because I'm involved with a lot of these groups on social media, and sometimes I miss something, but then somebody will come and tell me, hey, did you see this post about this? And I'm like, no, I missed that, because sometimes your feeds get so overwhelmed and you miss things. So the more people that you network with and that you know and you communicate with, the better off you'll be in staying engaged and knowing about the opportunities that are available to you out there, whether it's a virtual opportunity. Hopefully soon we can all get back to embracing in-person events. I know we're all just can't wait for those kind of things to start happening again, but definitely take advantage of communicating and reaching out to these ladies, and they're there for you. And again, get involved and put your information out there, get on their mailing lists, their distribution list, get on social media, like their pages, because again, that's going to be the best way that you're going to receive information from them as well. And so, but just stay engaged that way and get involved that way, and you know, reach out to them and get on their list so you don't miss the opportunities that might be coming up that would be interesting to you and to get involved. So, but I do want to thank everybody so very much for your time this evening. We went a little late, but at the same time, this is wonderful information that all of these people were waiting for to be involved with. So I don't want to sell any of this information short by any means, because it's super important. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything. I do want to open the platform up to anybody who might have specific questions for any of our guest, excuse me, guest hosts. Megan, do you see anything while I was?
Nope, I just see lots of thank yous. So
awesome. And I do see that everybody's put some information as far as from our organizations that were represented. Their information is in the chat, but don't fret. I will compile all of that and make sure that in a follow-up email, everybody has contact information, links, URLs to videos. So again, for those of you ladies who did share a video, if you wouldn't mind emailing me a YouTube link for that, because I do know a lot of folks were experiencing some issues with that audio and or visual, and I want to make sure that they're able to see the entirety and hear the entirety of what you had to share this evening. But there are a lot of resources out there, and so just stay involved, stay engaged, and let's see. There might be. Is there a question here? Is there some best first steps for women that have never hunted and don't have families that hunt? So I'll just kind of open that up to anybody who wants to take that.
I'll go ahead and jump in, Jennifer. That's kind of exactly the type of people that have attended any of our events. We certainly welcome anyone that doesn't have any experience, because we want you to be able to come and start learning that in the right place. So fingers crossed, once we're able to do some more in-person stuff, we'll be able to do some hunter education classes, but we may consider doing some virtual ones too. If you've never hunted and want to get involved, that would be my recommendation as somebody that hunted my entire life. That's the first piece of advice that I give anyone who is asking those kinds of questions of where do we start by taking a hunter's ed class.
I want to echo that. I 100% agree, Colleen. I think that's the best place to start, and that's the best place to not only get the information that you need to even begin thinking about entering into the field, but it also gets you connected to the agency, which is a really, really valuable connection. I also think for me, I started hunting about 6 years ago, and what got me started in it was accompanying somebody on hunt, not as a mentee, just as a partner in the field to observe and watch. And so I think sometimes that's another opportunity. Again, Colleen, I think you mentioned you've got 6 mentees that you're taking out this fall. And so people don't always have the capacity to enter into the field as a teacher. I think there's more capacity to enter into the field as a companion. And so if you want to just join somebody on a hunt, that's also a good first step. And that will give you a lot of really great information in a really fun setting.
I agree with all of that. And Julia, my family doesn't hunt, and so I did what the others are already saying about taking the hunter safety ed course. And then I also go out into the woods any chance I get, just because I love it. And then as far as finding out the weapon that you'd like to use, there are resources at the local ranges where you can take lessons, whether it's it doesn't matter which, if you want to do rifle or muzzle loader. I know that there are muzzle loader. My firearm teacher shot muzzle loader, and then also at the archery ranges. So sometimes that can be cost prohibitive, because taking lessons, it can be expensive, but I think that it's a great way to start if you don't have anyone to teach you.
I can piggyback off of that, Cami. I mean, the event that we host, we can usually kind of cater to all of that. We offer a little bit of hunter's education, the firearm safety, introducing them to shotgun, kind of so they can kind of see, you know, maybe what is going to be a good weapon of choice for them. And in light of like archery, or maybe they want to, you know, look at the muzzleloader. We do offer muzzleloader every year. We've got a great group of guys that teach that. And it's just really, it's a good opportunity for them to kind of, that event specifically is a good opportunity for them to kind of witness and experience and really just dig right in and learn, you know, all aspects from how to apply for New Mexico hunts, how to shoot the shotgun, all of the firearm safety, you know, muzzleloader, archery, and maybe after they shoot the 3D shoot, they'll think, oh, you know, archery is the way I want to go. I want to hunt, you know, with a bow. So that's, you know, I highly recommend they attend our event just for that reason alone.
I'll add a little bit too. So obviously, yes, hunter education extremely important, but I know sometimes depending, I know when we were doing in-class and there was in-class in-person training, there was wait lists and you had to sign up for a class and things like that. And I know now it's virtual, it's a little bit easier. So in conjunction with that, I know we all live on our phones. So I'm always telling people, like, YouTube is amazing. Just watch people on their hunts, talk about hunting, field dressing, take notes, questions that arise, so that when you do go out in the field with somebody, you can say, hey, well, I saw this. What do you think about this? Get their opinion. The other thing too is, I'm assuming a lot of people drive, finding some podcasts, just listening to people talk about their experiences, you know, binoculars that they like, or boots that they prefer, or things you should think about taking into the back country with you. So I'm a huge person when it comes to learning about something. I will immerse myself in anything and everything. And since we live in such a technical world, you know, we always, what do we do when we sit down and we don't have anything to do? We get on our phones. So just typing in, you know, education or hunting events and things like that. That's kind of my biggest thing, is we're so technologically immersed, is using that. Save some video. So like if you are out in the woods and you don't have service, you can watch, you know, a hunting video, or, you know, download your video on how to like properly like gut a turkey or field dress a deer. And, you know, I for sure have like taken my phone and I'm out there, I'm like, all right, I got to cut from here to here, not knowing exactly what I was doing, and just, you know, trial by error. And just like going out, like I said, get on, like cold call people with a DM. People will take you out and they want to share anything and everything they know about what they love. 100%. Like I said, unless they have a scheduling conflict, they're more than likely will be willing to either take you out or get you in contact with somebody who will take you out.
Thank you, ladies, so much. So a couple of things before we wrap up the evening. I do want to let you all know that for our next social hour, and Megan, you can totally chime in here if I have the dates incorrect, but I do believe our next social hour we're going to host is in October the 19th. And for that one, and it was funny because Cami even just said, you know, ask questions. So that is actually what we're going to do for our next session, is we want to just kind of open it up to any and all outdoors types of questions that you ladies might have that have come up like over the course of this year, things that we might need to address a little bit more and dig in a little bit deeper, or maybe something happened to you on a hunting or fishing trip and you just really didn't know what to do and how to handle it or anything. So we just really want to have an open forum for that. And you're welcome to submit questions to us ahead of time so we can address them, or you can just hop on board with whatever questions that you might have. and we'll be here to answer those. And I know there'll still be some fall hunts that are going on at that time. We have muzzleloader and rifle hunts going on. Upland hunts are still will be happening, and then quail hunting will be coming up just soon after that. So if you do have any questions like that, and then fall turkey also starts in November for shotgun season. We're right now in archery. So, but bring your questions that you have, and we'll be happy to address those at the time. And so, Megan, did I have the date right? October 19th? Yes. Awesome.
October 19th.
Super. But I know that that's all I have. And does anybody else have anything else to add or any questions that we might need to address in the chat before we bounce out?
I don't see any questions, so I think we're good to go.
Great. Well, I just want to thank Jennifer, Cammie, Helen, Marcia, and Colleen for getting on board with us tonight. Thank you all participants who wanted this information, who have been on board with us. So thank you everyone for your continued support for these Ladies Social Hours. And I would just like to thank everybody again and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.